sort of break it down like this.
Gang hang. Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday. We're gang hanging. My name's Matt Baum.
I'm in the Internet Show, Patrick.
And on Saturdays, we hang out with the listeners in our Discord. If you want to hang out, we'd love to have you. Just don't be a jerk, okay? I don't know if you've noticed, we are a bunch of crybaby liberal snowflakes, and we like to have a good time. And when we do complain about things, we try to make it constructive, right? So if you want to come hang...
In fact, we have a no jerks allowed policy, and jerks are probably not here to hear that.
I think that's right. Yeah, you don't get the sleeveless jean jacket if you're a jerk. It's not how it works. But let's get into it. It's your show. We rap about stuff. There is stuff to rap about. First, I'm going to make sure that Jimbo's okay. We lost a major manga artist, one of the biggest this week. Akira Toriyama, Dragonball creator. Jim, are you all right?
Thursday night when I heard the news, I was in complete shock. Everyone was like, no way, that's real. And then Eiichiro Oda of One Piece, he posted his saying, and then the tears has pretty much been for 2 days. Every time I hear a new author or creator talk about interactions with him, what they meant for the community, and it's been pretty rough. So yeah, I mean, it's just so the crazy part. He's 68. You know, he died back on March 1st. Complete silence for a full week, just like with the Berserk author Kento Mura. Like, this secrecy they use is absolutely insane. Is that just
for the family? Is it like a Japanese thing where they do that for the family? Like, we're all gonna mourn first.
Well, I mean, look at it this way. Say they released that he died, like the next day. How many people would have flown over there to try to pay their respect? How many mobs of thousands of people would have gone there? I mean, they're trying to. It would have been insane. I think it's. Ultimately, it's the best way to do it. They don't want any flowers or gifts. They send their press release. And just,
fair.
Be like that.
Fair.
Yeah.
I watched Dragon Ball Z like all day yesterday. At work, sometimes I'll just turn it on my computer, let it go.
Well, it started. I mean, that really is the started the anime boom.
Yeah.
Back on Toonami. I mean, there's so many people that you meet. But when I remember back in college, I have a friend that we met at a party, and we both like Dragon Ball. Like, I mean, we're still friends. We talked about it, Friday morning. And I talked to my brother extensively. Me and my brother have gone to all the Dragon Ball movies, the new run that have come out.
Nice.
And so even the live action one, starring the American kid.
I don't think that one made it into the theaters.
It did. Dragon Ball Evolution.
That
doesn't exist, Joe. That doesn't exist. Oh, sorry. And the big issue is that he's still working. Like, he's still doing character designs. Like, if you're in a video game, does Dragon Quest, still does that.
Yeah.
So it's just like a heavy loss because he's so I don't know. He still shines over the industry.
Yeah.
He's still Dragon Ball Super. He still wrote that stuff. He's written all the new movies that are actually the good ones.
Yes.
And
true.
There's going to be more.
True.
So we have no. So if you want to be negative, like, what is going to happen with the rights? We assume they go to the estate, but I mean, I'm very interested because they have a new Dragon Ball series coming out later this year in the fall that he wrote. It's going to be more kiddish, so people are kind of like I keep kind of eye roll on that. And he was like, I want more adventure, more fun.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah,
no,
yeah, we don't want that. We want giant dudes screaming. So
yeah,
forbid.
I didn't. Yeah. So, I realized it, obviously. Joe and I worked in the comic shop back in the day, but reading about it, I didn't even think about, it was really like Dragon Ball manga that exploded first and got this stuff on the shelf. I mean, manga was around, anime was around and stuff, but those little phone book editions that started showing up, and we would put them on the shelf, and kids would walk in and buy 6 of them, and bam, and we couldn't keep them in stock. And then after that, they opened the floodgates, and kids loved manga. It was crazy. He's almost, from what I was reading, he's almost singularly responsible for this wave of manga that started. I mean,
so
in the States,
back in the 90s, Fun Animation, the CEO is Fun Animation. It's we need a big hit. So he went to Japan. He's we want to bring this Dragon Ball Z over because it was the most popular thing over there. and they eventually said yes, and the rest, it was a slow buildup, but by the 2000s, things biggest, huge.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy.
It is, yeah.
It's a massive loss. Massive loss.
It's a massive, shocking loss.
He was not old. Yeah, 65, and he had like a subdermal hematoma.
No,
68.
Oh, 68.
68. Yeah. So
He died of a subdermal
basically,
hematoma, which is that's awful.
So
Yeah,
so
brain bleed.
people think, did he fall? Is it how does it happen? It's just so. If he wasn't so involved in the community still, doing interviews, going to press junkets over in Japan, writing, sketching, maybe it wouldn't be as bad, but he's still so predominant in the industry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just been rough. I've been posting on the anime manga channel, Oda's and Kishimoto of Nuro, the voice actor for Goku, who is 87, by the way.
He's 87?
He is 87. The voice actor for Goku.
87-year-old woman.
Oh my
Voice
God.
And you know what? She ain't gonna be. She can't be 11. We get 10 more years of her. She still does the voice of everything. You got movies and.
Oh my God, that's insane! I had no idea.
I know. She's gonna be. Yeah. People were already kind of planning because some of the other voice actors,
Right.
the original Vegeta and Bulma, had passed away.
Yeah.
But she is huge. She's also very active in the community. She's also she's like 5'2". She's really tiny.
Fair enough.
She's pretty loved. So
Rest in power.
Yeah, it sucks.
Akira Toriyama. That's a huge one. Sorry for your loss, brother. But hey, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah,
right? It's where we're all going.
I guess just to end. I guess the best thing with social media is everyone just sharing their stories, how they got into Dragon Ball. Me and my brothers. I talked to my other brother last night as well. We all grew up watching that.
Fair enough.
A lot of great memories. We'll just kind of keep it like that, I guess.
JD popped something in about Kelly Thompson here in the chat. JD, what do you got? You got a hot take on Gang War too. I'd love to hear this. The Spider-Man Gang War.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm trying to pull it up on Substack. The Kelly Thompson announcement is she's going to be writing Scarlet for the Energon universe.
Yeah, saw that.
Yeah, I
Totally
posted
rad.
that in the Nerd News a couple days ago.
Totally rad. Excited for that.
Yeah. So she's writing Scarlet, and Dan Waters of Sandman Universe fame
He's great.
is writing Destro.
I really like Dan
those should both
Waters.
be really good.
He is coming up, and he is great. What's your hot take on
What's
Gang
your
War?
hot take about Gang
yeah,
War?
come on. Don't tease us.
Oh, my hot take about Gang War is that it's really good, and I like it a lot.
Really? You're digging it? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I've been looking for this nerd. I've been looking for this nerd.
I think it's big dumb fun with a capital dumb.
I'll give you that.
That's exactly what I need in comics, because the closest thing I can compare it to is Devil's Reign, which was obviously our very, very serious,
too serious.
Daredevil centric, street level hero, big beat 'em up brawl, but it was heavy with portent and very self serious. This is the stakes on this are so low.
Yeah,
it's just
I'll give you that. The stakes are low.
We're moving the deck chairs around, but I think it's really fun to get. The other thing I really like is the fact that each of the series feels self-contained as well as part of the overall story. I think we're gonna come out of it with another really good Spider-Woman, probably miniseries, because she can't sustain an ongoing. But I think the story they're telling with Spider-Woman is really good. I love that Miles Morales in this is stepping up and holding Peter's feet to the fire. He is, he's basically kind of coming up as an equal to Peter.
I'm a little behind on the Miles book, but I do agree they're doing a thing with Miles right now where it's just it kind of seems like every time he bumps into Peter, they're like, "What's wrong with you?" He's you're supposed to be a hero we all look up to, and you are a jackass right now.
Yeah, he was just like, "Look, I could have used you, and you weren't around.
Yeah.
Don't make." And he's like, "Don't make me be the one to remind you.
Yeah.
About power and responsibility.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't make me say it."
I really like their
that's pretty
relationship in general. You know, that like Miles is not afraid to call Peter out when it's necessary, but also they're still very closely bonded. Like that Spectacular Spider-Man #1 came out.
Oh, I haven't read that yet. But
And
I'm
it
excited
was
for it.
it's so good. It was so good.
Mark Stern's
I mean,
talking
it
about
was-
it. And Mark, do you want to rap about that with us real quick? I haven't read it yet, but all I've heard is gushing over it.
It's great. It's essentially Spider-Man, the video game Spider-Man 2 in comic book form. Which, if you've played that game, you know what I mean. But it's a delight. But Mark, please.
Yeah, no, it is. It's great. I think for me, I guess I haven't been a big fan of Miles's solo book. I came in on Miles back, in the Ultimate Universe, and then there was that crossover when Peter Parker got shifted over to the Ultimate Universe for a little bit.
Yeah.
And
That was
tone of voice-
Spider-Men is what that was called. The Bendis.
And I really like that tone of voice for him. And I know that like when they brought him over to the 616, things shifted a little bit. They aged him up a little bit. But anyway, like this new Spectacular Spider-Man, it's just fun. I mean, Humberto Ramos is doing his thing. So it's, everything is like super dynamic and stretchy and wild. But the characters are having fun. And it's something that we're not seeing a lot of in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes, that's
with Peter Parker like quipping,
That's my problem with.
There's even like, oh, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, and I know JD says it's big dumb fun in Gang War right now. I would stop with big dumb personally, and I'm not trying to yuck your yum, JD, but it's just like it's not fun. I'm not having fun with it, and that's one of the things. Spider-Man comics should be serious, should have heavy moments, no question, but it should also be fun. I don't care for suicidal Peter Parker personally. I kind of like
There's a scene in Spectacular Spider-Man in this week's first issue where they're kind of at a distance and you see just like two random word balloons and you don't know who's saying what, but one of them calls out the other one for being like, "Oh, dude, you're such a child." And you assume that it's Peter talking to Miles, and it's actually like the next panel. It's like it's Miles calling out Peter for just being a little infantile,
making a very childish joke. Yeah.
Is this regular Marvel continuity, or you said video game?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It is. Okay.
No, I mean it's like the tone of it, like their relationship and their closeness is very similar to their relationship in Spider-Man 2, the video game from Insomniac. But no, this is in continuity, and it's really great. Greg Weisman is the writer. He created Gargoyles. The cartoon Gargoyles.
He created that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I think he also created Young Justice, the cartoon Young Justice.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah. So that guy is really great at writing like relationships, young characters. And this isn't his first comic work, but he's like, he hasn't written a ton of stuff in comics, but he's good at it.
He is. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So, I'll say about Gang War though, Matt. I just read the first half. That's all they've released on Marvel Unlimited. So there's still another half of this to turn me off. So there's still hope.
Okay, yeah, don't worry. I think you'll get there. I did not read the Spider-Woman tie-in, and mainly because the two tie-ins that I did read for the show, I just was done with that crap.
So yeah.
I think I started with the Spider-Woman because I'm a big Spider-Woman fan. She's one of my favorite characters.
Okay.
And this is Spider-Woman's story with a cameo by the Gang War thing. And it's for her joining up with Peter in the Gang War is a means to an end.
Sure.
In fact, Spider-Woman. Sorry, JD. I don't mean to. Just to echo your thought there, is that this, unlike the Daredevil Gang War book and the Luke Cage Gang War book, Spider-Woman was her own title. It just happened to be it started with a Gang War tie-in.
That
Right.
okay, that's a subsection of comics we should read for CLB. Comics
we talked about that
series that started during events. We should totally do
I
that.
think we reviewed number 1 on the show, and we talked about how it's almost never to the service of the book for an ongoing series to begin with an event.
No.
And I feel like this is not the first time. I feel like this is not the first time they've done this with Spider-Woman either.
Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably not. Yeah.
I feel like she had another ongoing that started in the middle of a crossover, and I can't remember which one it was.
Well, I know that her I believe it was Bendis and Malieve, actually. It was in the wake of Secret Invasion. So it was after Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
And it was basically like Spider-Woman, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and she was hunting down.
I mean, that was the mission of the
book.
book, though, right? I mean, that was sort of like that was her job.
It wasn't part of the crossover. It was after the crossover.
Yeah.
Right, but it was very dependent upon the crossover.
It was, heavily tied to Secret Invasion.
Yeah, if you hadn't read Secret Invasion, you wouldn't know what was going on in that book and understand why she was
for sure
had such a hard on for the Skrulls. But yeah, I don't know. I think Spider-Man in Gang War is, he's an element, but I don't think he's the focus. I think really, honestly, the criminals are the focus, and I'm kind of enjoying watching them like chew up scenery and be over the top.
Yeah, like it's Tombstone and Madame Mask and the Magia.
Yeah, I love the idea. I love the idea. It's just
what Madame Mask does to what's his name, Flathead or
who head?
Hammerhead.
Hammerhead.
Yeah. What she does to Hammerhead. Holy moly!
Yeah.
That was brutal.
JD, you've inspired me to go back and read more of Gang War because perhaps my problem, and I don't mean to speak for Matt, but it may have been his problem as well, is that we didn't really love the kickoff to Gang War in that one shot, and then the first couple tie-ins we read were so terrible that it colored the rest of the that Luke Cage book.
Garbage.
I'm sorry.
It was garbage.
It's abysmal.
Yeah.
It's
the Daredevil tie-in is garbage too. And look,
I don't know. I liked the Daredevil tie-in because I like anything with the Daredevil with Electra.
Fair. I mean, yes, I'll give you that. I like that character too. The lead up to this as well. I have not cared for Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man. End of line.
No, I haven't either.
Has not been doing it for me. I'm ready for someone else to do it.
But I did like the Tombstone stuff that he's been doing.
Yeah, but yes.
Yeah,
I think
and Tombstone's daughter is really cool. I like the idea of her being the new Beetle. It smacks a little bit of what's her name? Kestrel, I think, over in Miles's book.
Oh, right, where she's the
Vulture's daughter.
Yeah, or Vulture's granddaughter. Yeah,
Vulture's granddaughter. So it's kind of cool that we're getting these second, these legacy villains or legacies of villains. But
we always get legacy heroes. I do think it's fun when we see legacy villains.
For sure.
The Luke Cage of it all, as bad as that book was, I think one of the things that is doing and what we're going to end up with is they have to write themselves out of this stupid Cape Killers bullshit.
No comment. You are only halfway through. No comment.
Well, no, I know that they're. I mean,
That's not a spoiler, certainly.
Well, no, it's already been spoiled. I've already read a spoiler that they do repeal it at the end.
They repeal Fisk's Law, yes, at the end of Gang War. The final issue of the final chapter of Gang War in Amazing Spider-Man this week. It is revealed that Fisk's Law has been repealed.
I was over that.
It's no longer illegal to be a superhero.
And if that comes out of that, good. I mean, it's stupid.
However bad that Luke Cage book was, the minute you got through the second issue of that, you knew that was, that's what they're doing. That's what this whole thing is for. And that was the goal. And so, I mean, they're kind of showing their work a little bit there, but I don't hate it. I ain't mad at it. I just,
Fair.
I need my books to be fun sometimes versus
And maybe it reads better. Maybe it reads better in large chunks. Like Matt and I read it an issue at a time.
Yeah.
Until we were so turned off that we stopped.
I keep dipping my toe in a little bit, and
Marvel Unlimited dropped. I think they dropped almost 11 issues at once. They dropped literally the first half, and it says when you log in, it's like, the first half. Read the first half of Gang War.
Hey, Frank, I'm going to mute you for a minute,
DC,
Frank, because I'm getting a little
DC
background noise,
something
just so you know. But let me know when you want to be unmuted, and I can do that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the first half of Amazing Spider-Man Gang War, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 issues. It goes all the way up to Amazing Spider-Man 41.
That's pretty good.
I read Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, which I think what they're doing with Shang-Chi is interesting. Luke Cage, Spider-Woman, issues 1 and 2, Miles Morales 14, 13. Yeah, so this goes a fair ways. But yeah, that was it. I just wanted to be the voice of, I don't know, dissension or positivity.
No, that's good. That's good. You know how long we've been looking for a Spawn fan to talk Spawn with? like 15 years, I think.
Yeah, you're not going to find that with me.
No. Starting to wonder if they're even.
You know
out
what?
there.
I read Spawn 350, and we were going to do it for the show,
Oof.
but things happened and we couldn't do a show. And then, it was we ended up doing 2 Electra Assassin weeks, and so we were going to do YouTube exclusive reviews of that first week that we missed, and Spawn 350 was going to be one of them. And I hated it so much that I told Matt to forget it.
Okay,
and
now,
I was like, no.
Now look, I'm not going to defend Spawn. I'm not going to defend
but-
Spawn 350. I will say this about it. JD, as to what you were saying, if you are looking for big, dumb fun, you can't argue it's not there. It's full of demons. It's full of dudes in huge armor shooting each other.
I think you can
with
argue
magic.
about the fun part.
Look, if you like comic books that are basically action figures getting smashed together, Spawn is your jam.
I'll give you that one.
That's what I'm saying. It was flashy as hell.
Spawn.
Yeah, let's talk Spawn. Let's talk Spawn.
Give it to us.
Damon, go for it.
Yeah, all I was going to say about Spawn is, and I think I can say this now after it being existing for 30 years. McFarlane, as you probably know, makes a lot of action figures.
Yes, he does.
And he designs some of them pretty well.
Yeah.
I attest that Spawn looks, and I've been a fan of Spawn visually for a very long time.
Yeah,
when it comes to the writing, it's shit. It has always been shit.
Always.
And it looks like always going to be shit.
Yeah. I mean,
But
there were good writers that came on Spawn for a while and did what they could.
Didn't Neil Gaiman write
Neil
Spawn?
Gaiman wrote some Spawn.
He wrote one issue
Absolutely.
of Spawn.
yeah, after he did.
Neil Gaiman wrote one issue of Spawn early on. and
Bendis
so
wrote
did
some
Alan Moore.
Spawn.
He wrote
Yeah,
one issue
Alan
of
Moore
Spawn.
wrote some Spawn. It kind of reminds me of.
But not like runs or anything.
No,
They
no,
just
no,
wrote
no,
one
no. Right.
issue.
But
Alan Moore had a pretty. He did that Blood Feud arc.
Yeah, Alan Moore was
In
there for.
Spawn?
Yes, he was there for
Yeah.
a while.
Oh,
He
wow.
and, I think Tony Daniel maybe.
Yep.
They did there were 2 books running at the same time.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know, 2 years.
Well, all right.
I mean, but that was also when he was writing all those awesome comics for Liefeld and
Yes,
like
he was doing like
I don't know.
Supreme, and he was doing Glory.
Awesome, the proper noun.
Yes.
The company name.
Awesome, the company, not the comics were not awesome.
Well, I don't know. The people raved about those Supreme books, so they may have been awesome.
He was doing a thing in those Supreme books, and there was very throwback, but the art was not throwback at all. So it's like the style was just such a clash. It was
It was a
completely,
clash, yeah.
completely bizarre.
he did connect with Chris Sprouse at some point
Yes.
towards the end of it. And
Yes.
they really connected, and that's then what got to Tom Strong.
Yeah.
I'm strong.
The ABC book. So they really started to sync at the end. But I mean, that Supreme book, I think he might have started around 50 something. So you've got 50 unreadable issues of Supreme, and
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
that jives with my memory. I think it was right around Supreme number 50. But yeah, anything before Alan Moore jumping onto Supreme, you can just give that a pass.
Oh yeah, but
because when Alan Moore comes on to Supreme, it becomes a Silver Age Superman homage, and it doesn't really matter what you knew about Supreme before then.
No. It's a totally different book. But yeah, I mean, like those guys came on to Spawn and did stuff, and like, look. He's still doing it. I'm not saying I love it. I'm not going to say I even really enjoyed issue 350, but I read through it and I went, yeah, there's a thing there. I can see it. It's still doing a very 90s chunky art, very overly detailed, and like they're still shooting demons with magic bullets in hell. And I don't know. Like it is what it is. After I was done, I was like, okay, maybe there's something there. It's just not for me. But people love it. He's introducing 15 more books in his Spawn line. Did you know that?
I can't. Yeah.
15.
That sounds like the most Todd McFarlane thing ever.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's funny because there was a thing from that, what's it called, Cartoon K-Fab thing where they interview Todd and he's talking about like how Marvel and DC, like how the industry can like save itself. And it's like doing good books. And like, and he's not wrong. And then like 2 days later, it's like, oh, there's going to be 15 Spawn books. It's like, oh, or just flood the market. Just flood the market with stuff that nobody wants.
It's IP farming. He's going to IP farm.
You get a little bit of heat on the first 3 issues of each one, and that's about it. Like, I think nothing tells us how successful those toys are more than him subsidizing those worthless comics for 30 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Let me tell you something.
Go ahead, Damon.
His McFarlane toys, I was going to say, was the DC stuff. It's become a pattern because then I get it because it sells, but he has put out so many variants of the Batman figures out there.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows it's like more for like, the hardcore fans. But I do find it funny that he just lauds this his strategy. It's always been a strategy. Just flood the market with crap.
Absolutely.
Somebody's going to buy it.
Yeah. And this new.
Well, I mean, to Todd's credit as a toy maker, and honestly, I don't know how much input Todd McFarlane actually has on what McFarlane Toys produces. I'm sure he's involved in some way, but it's a massive company. So at this point, McFarlane Toys is a pretty big deal. But yeah, there's all the crappy, like Batman of this and Batman of that, but they also do like a really wonderful superpowers.
Yes, they do actually.
Replica line.
Yeah.
Like from the 80s DC superpowers figures, but with newer characters.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, that's wonderful. Like, keep it up.
Yeah. He's been doing Warhammer 40,000 figures and they're amazing. I've been buying all of them. They're kick ass.
I have some of his DC stuff too. I mean, even the main line.
It's great. They look cool as hell.
I can't hate on it.
Yeah. The Azrael Batman armor, man. Stared at that for a very long time. I was like, do I need that? His new fifth line of 15 comics though. He's from what it sounds like, from what he said in early interviews, it's like, I want creators to come work and do their thing, and they own a piece of what they're doing. And I was like, they own a piece of it? What does that mean? Like, that kind of sounds like the same shit you got into back in the day, with the Rob, when you're like, oh, I'm going to have my character kill Al Simmons instead. Chapel. I'm going to have Chapel kill Al Simmons in the pages of Spawn. And even though he's, my character from Youngblood, this is Rob talking. And then the two break up and Rob takes his Youngblood and leaves. And now you can't even mention something that happened in the origin of your character. Like, why would somebody else want to come in and be like, I want to do a bunch of stuff in the Spawn universe that I own? Well, as long as you're in the Spawn universe, you own it. But when Neil Gaiman and Angela, that was right out of Spawn. He created her for Spawn, and then he took his ball and left. And it's like, look, I can't go into the Angela continuity in Spawn, but she did a bunch of stuff there. I know that. And now you can't ever mention it again, and you can't reprint it.
I mean, they did a I think they kind of approximated like where she came from and stuff in Marvel. You know, Heaven with no A, right? HEV.
No. She's Thor's sister, Joe.
EN or whatever.
She's Thor's sister.
There you go.
Well, I mean, then she was revealed, but that was added stuff. That was added stuff.
Sure.
But I mean,
added
look,
in
the
Angela year one.
Original Sin was a mistake, and the less we mention it, the better. Okay.
Oof, yeah.
But when they brought her over, the people tasked with turning Angela into a Marvel character did kind of approximate the stuff with, very similar situation with like her background and the race of angels and all this crap. But yeah, as far as any meeting with Spawn or anybody, any interaction with anybody, it's a no-go. But
yeah, I'm just surprised he wants.
But again, who cares, right?
Well,
we already don't care about
Yeah.
Angela.
Who cares?
Nobody's complaining about about them not being able to mention that time she met Spawn. You know?
Yeah. No, and Chapel, who even friggin' remembers. Other than they made her a hot assassin in stiletto heels in the movie.
That was about right.
They made Chapel a sexy lady.
A sexy white lady, no less. Yes.
It was Famke
Oh
Janssen.
no!
Yeah.
Yep. It was Famke Janssen was your Chapel in Spawn.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah, baby.
that's bad.
Yeah, baby. And Todd was all like, yep,
is
it's
bad.
totally my vision. I'm 100% behind this. I love it. Like, okay, because this is crap, Todd. I stood up
All right.
and I booed in that movie when it ended. I stood up, put 2 thumbs down, I booed out loud, and some guy went, shut up. And I said, screw you. And then I went, sold my run of Spawn comic books. Like, I am done here.
All right, enough
slate
Spawn
clean.
talk. Mark has made a request. If there is anybody here that has seen Dune 2, what are your spoiler-free general impressions? Did you like it? Is it a great sequel? Is it a great part 2 of a trilogy?
Spoiler, everybody kind of liked it from what I've heard. So
I'm just saying, like, if you saw Dune 2, let Mark know, hey, how great is it on a scale of 1 to 10? I don't know.
All right, Joe.
Mark, what kind of information are you looking for here? Has anybody seen Dune 2?
Okay, we brought that to a...
I've heard good things about it too. I just I've also heard that they changed a few things, which of course you understandably it's a lot. But they've also compressed and condensed a lot of the story as well. I'm just kind of curious, like, do you see it being like an awesome trilogy? Do you think they like lost the plot, or do you think it's like it's setting things up for an amazing third part? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet, so I can't speak to any of this.
Oh, I thought you went last week, Matt.
No,
Okay.
I was unable to. I wanted to, but my wife couldn't do it, and she needs to see it. So,
Well, Mark, I think the answer to all your questions is yes. I mean, I haven't seen it. I've seen part of it, but
speaking of movies, though, hey, we got the Oscars this weekend. Is anybody gambling on the Oscars? They want to call their hot shots
hold
right
on
now.
1 second. I'm in the middle of a thought. God damn it!
You haven't seen the movie, and this is screeched to a halt. But go ahead.
I did see a thing where Denis Villeneuve revealed that he's got 4 projects in the works, and one of them is God Emperor Dune. So they're definitely making a third one.
Well, one of them is a TV show for
For what it's
Apple
worth.
too, about the history of the Bene Gesserit sisterhood, which sounds awesome. I'm totally down. So hit me.
I mean, I haven't heard anything about
Let's
that, so
go.
we'll see if that gets made. But
Yeah,
Can I interject something?
get in.
yeah, the Oscars are tomorrow.
Well, hold on, Frank.
I have seen
Hold on.
so few
Time out.
of
Frank
the
wants
Oscar-nominated
to.
movies.
Frank wants to interject something. Frank, go.
Okay, so I was reading the synopsis
Frank
of God
is still
Emperor
muted.
Dune. I'm still muted? No, I am muted.
No, I
myself.
can hear Frank.
We can all hear Frank.
Okay.
Oh, he's only muted for me. I didn't know that was something you could
shit.
do.
So I was reading. It's okay. I've listened to. I've read most of Dune, but then I listened to it on audiobooks because that's all I have time for right now.
Sure.
But I was starting to read the synopsis of God Emperor Dune, and it sounds so bonkers and crazy.
It's-
I don't want to listen to it.
It's insane. It's insane. Like Spoilers for a
like
spoilers for a 45-year-old or 50-year-old
Right.
book, but yeah, Paul turns into a giant worm. So-
yeah, that's what I mean. It's like
It's not Paul, man.
oh, you're right. It's not Paul. I apologize. But
It's not Paul.
dude turns into a worm. Yeah, Paul dies. I forgot horribly.
right.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Is there a character in Dune called Dune?
No.
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 Okay.
No, the God Emperor.
Character, what do you mean?
The God Emperor is
That would
the
be-
God Emperor
Okay.
of the planet Dune. It's not
God
like
Emperor
I
of
am Dune,
planet
your
Arrakis,
God
also
Emperor.
called Dune. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
that's all I wanted to
they never call it in the new movies. They never call it Dune. Well, I haven't
they
seen the
do.
second one, but
Yes,
in the new movie they do.
Yeah, they do a
Yes.
lot, a big time.
A lot.
Yep.
Focus, Joe.
Yeah.
Focus.
That's
I mean,
like
I did. I
notes.
watched it for the second.
Take
I
notes.
watched it for the second time last week. And I
that's the
was
Shai
really
Hulud's whole jam. You know, like Dune, Arrakis, desert
watched,
planet. You know?
I watched after I watched Dune Part 1 for the second time. I watched the David Lynch Dune for the first time since I was a little kid,
Still love it.
and so essentially
Still
it was
love it.
it was basically watching it for the first time. But in that one, it starts with the princess, the emperor's daughter, like narrating the whole deal, and she's like, "The planet Arrakis, also called Dune."
That's-
And I just don't remember them doing
That's
that.
the
in
whole
new movie.
reason that David Lynch took his name off the film. He was like, "No, I do not want some giant narrative opening. Here's the movie. We don't need it." And the studio was like, "No one's gonna know what this is about, dude."
I don't think he took his name off of it, dude. His
He took
name's
his-
all over
Yes.
it.
He took his name off it
yes.
big
He has
time.
disowned it.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he
completely disowned it. He was so mad about it. But I do love that the Atreides all had pugs in that movie. There were pugs all over the place.
Yes.
You know, I've seen that. I've seen that meme of Patrick Stewart
Yeah, with a gun and a
running
pug.
the battle with the gun in one hand and the
And a
pug,
pug in
in
the other hand. Yeah.
arm.
Oh,
And I was like, that can't be real.
no, it's
And then I watched the
100%
movie. I'm
real.
like, that dude is holding a fucking
real.
pug
Yeah.
and he's running off into battle with a machine gun.
Those are the Emperor's dogs. He was
amazing.
saving them. Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Do we care about the Oscars? Anyone betting on the Oscars? Anyone to make their Oscar like
Don't care.
hot shot? Like
Sorry.
I mean,
I bet on the
I always
Oscars every
care,
year.
but
I love it.
I almost never see enough of the movies to like make any kind of educated guess.
I've
but-
seen all of the Oscar nominated movies. All of them. We just watched Poor Things last night. It was outstanding.
I do want to see
It-
That one I wanted to see.
Oh, outstanding. Willem Dafoe got fucking robbed, dude. That dude should be up for supporting. Don't get me wrong. What's his head? The Incredible Hulk is good in it. He's very good. But
Mark Ruffalo.
Thank you. But Dafoe, Mark Buffalo. But Dafoe is incredible as this like Frankenstein doctor with just scarred up face. And every time he talks about like his background, he's got this scientist like buddy that works with him, a younger kid who's like, he's a brilliant surgeon though. And like every time he talks about where he came from, and he's like, had my father not branded my genitals as a child, I would have never been driven into science. And these guys like, oh my God, what?
Holy shit.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
He is a monster.
My wife and I love to watch the Oscar. Like we watch every year, but we don't really work that hard at seeing the movies. But I did really want to. This year, there were a bunch that I wanted to see and just never got around to. Like I never got around to Oppenheimer. Who's got the time?
It's
Who's got
incredible.
the time to sit and watch
It
Oppenheimer?
was incredible.
I really wanted to see Poor Things. I wanted to see The Holdovers, and these are movies that are available now. on
Holdovers is
streaming.
excellent. It was great.
I'm a big. I love me some Paul Giamatti.
Oppenheimer
but,
wins. There's no question there. That one's it's
The Oppenheimer is going to
Best
sweep.
Picture, it's
and
over.
I think that's kind of a shame because I think Barbie deserved more
Yes.
Barbie got
attention.
If anybody deserved more attention, it's Greta Gerwig. It is a complete bullshit that she's not up for Best Director, but it's up for Best Picture. That's crap.
And I saw people complaining that like, everybody's crabbing about Greta Gerwig not getting nominated for Best Director, but they're not acknowledging the fact that America Ferrera got nominated for Best Supporting Actress and this and that and the other thing. I'm like, two things can be true.
Yeah.
You can be happy about America Ferrera because she was great in the movie, but Greta Gerwig fucking deserves that Oscar.
She really does.
They all have endorsed her too.
Yeah.
Like, the entire cast, including her. So
Well, including the other
what the hell?
directors that were like nominated. They were like, yeah, Greta Gerwig should be up here. This is kind of ridiculous. And like Killers of the Flower Moon, sure, it's good. It's very good. I think on a
Again, who's got
Scorsese
the
scale, I don't think it's even in like the top 5 best Scorsese movies. Like, it's good. It was way too long.
I'm closer to death than I am to birth, and I ain't got time for 4-hour opuses anymore. Unless I'm really like, I break it down over the course of a week. You know,
Yeah.
I watch a little bit a day, and I just never got around to Killers of the Flower Moon or Oppenheimer. But I do, you know, as much as I am happy for America Ferrera to have been nominated, I really do hope that Lily Gladstone wins for Best Supporting.
I think Emma Stone.
No, Lily
Gladstone's
Gladstone
main
is,
actress.
She
is for main actress.
Oh, is she
Yeah.
considered Best Actress? Not
Yes.
supporting?
Well, Joe,
Okay.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. You can
Even so.
you submit the actors on what categories you want.
Yeah.
So even though
Sure. I just didn't know how she was not what she was nominated.
She's
for,
leading
so.
actress. I think Emma Stone is a dark horse here, though.
Emma
honestly.
Stone will win if Lily Gladstone is up against Emma Stone.
She is a dark horse, though. But we'll see. I don't know. Nobody wants to care about my Oscar betting, so we can talk about something else. Let's talk about.
Yeah, because you're a degenerate gambler. You can't have
I
fun
love
without
it.
putting
I
money
love
on
it.
it.
Let's talk about
That's
ultimate.
why the THN Fantasy Football League went away.
You can't have a fantasy football league you don't pay for. You're not doing anything. Let's just go out and play tiddlywinks. Give me a break. Let's talk about our feelings on Ultimate
Hold on,
X-Men,
stop.
I think
Frank
we're
is trying to
split.
say something.
Oh, let me. Well, then I have to unmute Frank. I muted him again because there was a lot of background noise.
Son of a bitch.
Frank, there you are.
Oh my God! All right. So, did anybody read Incredible Hulk #9 from last week?
I'm
No,
taking
I am
a break until the artist comes back because I feel like so is the writer.
I picked it up and I'm like, I read through it, and the art was just the change in art was
Yeah.
a bit jarring. Same inker, but the art itself was just so like,
Well,
it doesn't have the same punch to it.
and
At all.
PKJ, I think, is sort of biding his time until the artist comes back. I think, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, this is obviously
who drew issue 8 or 9 or whatever.
Hold on, I got it up over here. Hold on.
I got it right here too. I can't remember what it was.
9.
It is Daniel Earls. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
I don't either.
He's a dude.
It's like he's a filler. You know, it's like maybe he's just a filler because the next issue was late, or you know, the pencils on the next. The
I mean,
ink
these
is the
things happen.
same.
They take little breaks
Yeah.
in between big storylines to let the main artist get caught up.
You guys, Daniel
Right.
Earls worked on the Breakout Extreme Venomverse crossover, so let's not discredit him here. Okay, it's a big hit. All right.
Yeah, I'm not the only one that thought it wasn't as good. I was like, this is great, and then I read #9 and I'm like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to reevaluate.
I'm gonna wait till Nick Klein comes back, and he does in 2 issues, I think. So
Oh,
then the
really?
story should kick back up. So
I can't,
All
dude. I don't know how I can't do that. You know, if I'm loving a title, like I don't take breaks.
I'm
I
gonna
have to
continue,
read.
yeah.
I have to read the whole thing.
I love
Like,
that you
why
won't
would
watch
take a break?
Oppenheimer because it's too long, but you will read crap because you have to.
It takes me 3 minutes to read a comic book. Are
I
you really
understand.
telling me that it was a crap comic book?
It wasn't great. It's just
wasn't-
Or was
nothing.
it just
nothing
not up
happened.
to the
Bad.
standards of the first 8?
They're just spinning their
Yeah,
wheels. Nothing's
exactly.
happening.
Yeah, it's just setting up for the next arc.
Yeah,
That's it.
I
That's it.
mean, and that's fair to say, but like,
Yeah.
it's one thing for you to say that they're marking time or it's not as good, but it's another thing entirely for somebody to accuse it of being a shitty comic.
No,
book,
no,
and I
no.
don't
This
think
is
anybody's done
the
that.
go grab a beer and popcorn match before the main match of the night. You know, that's all it is. So,
See, and I wouldn't leave my seat. I'd be like, no thanks. I came here. I bought a ticket. I'm here to watch.
okay, I want to talk about Ultimate X-Men because I feel like we have some mixed feelings, and I feel like Joe and I felt a certain way.
I know that Brian has read it.
Yeah, and I wanted to hear from you nerds that have read it because there's I've seen a lot of hate about it online as well, and not just troll hate. I'm not talking about that. Fuck that. I'm not even putting that in the discourse. But people that are just like, this is not what I paid for. Brian, what do you got? Brian, I see you.
It just felt like it's not a. I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel like a first issue of X-Men.
I don't disagree.
It feels like a niche miniseries, which is fine. She's done. Peach Minoko's done
Demon Days, yeah,
but
was the most
all
recent
those
one.
demon. I haven't looked. I have not paid attention to any of them because they're not for me. But this feels like more of that, and I think if you're making a bold relaunch of which they did with Spider-Man and they tried to do with Black Panther to various levels of success, like this is just.
I'm with you.
Ahead at the solicitations for the next issues to see if it's more. Is it more of the same? What is she planning? And it is sort of more of the same. It's a slow rollout of other characters, and they talk a little bit about Storm, but I don't know.
I think that
it's not Ultimate X-Men as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. It's not.
I think it is. I think it's suffering under the weight of expectation. The title. The title is making people think it's one thing when it's not, and I understand that criticism is fair.
I mean, you dinged that What If book we read this week for that same reason. You're like, what if Venom? This is the story of what if Venom infected the She-Hulk. You dinged the book for that.
It's still a what if. It's still a what if Venom comic.
I know.
Right?
I know.
You're getting your Venom. You're getting your Venom-y action, but I'm not this is. I am not criticizing Ultimate X-Men. You and I both loved that book.
I'm not saying I thought it was very good, but I agree with Brian. When you put Ultimate X-Men, when you title it Ultimate X-Men.
Wait, let me ask something based on that criticism, though. Is there a bunch of love and reverence for the original Ultimate X-Men?
I don't think that's even it.
I don't hating that book.
I don't think that's even it.
JD, that is such a great question.
And no, there isn't. But I don't think that's it.
It's not that. It's that it's a. I mean, that book is various levels of very, very okay and very bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a great series.
Okay to terrible, yes.
Yeah.
Okay to terrible. But I'm not the one that told everyone this book is Ultimate X-Men.
Yes.
Right.
They did
that's fair.
And they did the return to the Ultimate Universe.
Mm-hmm.
They've made a push to get this in front of people, and this is what they want to do. And they do Ultimate Spider-Man, and I did not love it as much as most people, but I read number 2, which I didn't think I would. It's good. It's a different, it feels like all those Spider-Man books that everyone's wanted forever of an adult Spider-Man and Bob with kids and all that. And I thought Black Panther failed in a similar way of it doesn't feel innovative enough. It felt like because we've seen so many Black Panther relaunches. And to call this book Ultimate X-Men, it's pretty decompressed.
Yes.
And it just feels like it's a mini series of not even tangential characters. It's completely own thing that they made. Who knows? Was it in the can? And they said, we'll make this the Ultimate X-Men book. It does not feel like
that's what I have to wonder. I have to wonder
this new world.
Yeah, I have to wonder if this was
pump the brakes, Brian. You're veering into Matt Bomb conspiracy.
But no, it doesn't make sense, Joe. He's right. It doesn't make sense.
Listen, this is what I think, and this is what I said when we reviewed the book. I think that people are expecting fairly. I think people are rightly expecting a book called Ultimate X-Men to at some point be about the team, a recognizable team of mutant characters.
Sure.
Called the X-Men. And what I said in my review was maybe it's a mistake thinking that this is going to be a superhero team book at all. Maybe that's not what this version of the X-Men is.
Then you don't.
And then Matt said right after that, it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
And Matt said it doesn't have to be. And here he is, JD.
But I'm saying there is valid argument, then don't call it Ultimate X-Men.
No. But now hold on. I'm if this is truly Ultimate Black Panther is a failure in the sense that it is not innovative at all. It is not a new. It's barely a new.
And to be fair, it's not a failure.
On the
It
Black
just
Panther.
it didn't do the ultimate
Yeah,
thing.
but
yeah.
I think that it's the flip side. I think that this is the flip side of our complaints with Ultimate Black Panther. Is that this book is so different than what we thought we might get. That it's a little off-putting for people, whereas Black Panther is not different at all.
Okay, no, I don't agree, because it's different, but not in the way where it's like we have reset the team coming together differently, or we've reset a character even that differently. Like, this is just Peach Momoko's take on
we don't know what the end of the
armor.
storyline is going to be.
Yeah, but how long is Peach Momoko going to be behind this too? Is this a mini series or a new ongoing series? Do we know?
They're all ongoings.
Because this is where I think the Lake House gives me an advantage, because I haven't read it, but based on the reviews and based on everything I've heard about this book, I'm excited to see where she's going to take this and how it might pivot. And I think this is one that is probably going to read better in chunks or reading it all in different stories than reading it in issues. And I think, it is decompressed storytelling, but hey, that's an ultimate tradition. I mean, if you look at Bendis,
it took 6 issues to get Spider-Man in that costume.
That is
in the
true.
Original Ultimate Spider-Man.
And again, it's the idea of, the formation of this world is the maker fucked with this universe and made it, took all the heroes away. How does that affect Xavier's mission? Does Xavier even exist in this world?
We don't know what he did to Xavier.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think choosing Momoko to do this and doing this big swerve, I think it's a big swing, and I'm excited because it's crazy and it's weird, and if you just kind of let the expectation wash away and just kind of read it and take it for what it is, I'm excited to read this book.
And it's a good comic book. I legit liked it. I think she's very talented, but I can hear that argument, and I don't disagree with it.
I think both sides of the argument are completely valid. It's just that for my my expectation, or not expectation, but like for my opinion, it's that this is something that's a slow burn, and I want to see where it goes. If at the end of the arc, there's like not even a hint of any sort of like collective of mutants.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't have to be superheroes. Like Ultimate X-Men, it doesn't have to be a superhero book.
Yeah, it could be like
just be,
NYX.
This is the story of mutants struggling to survive.
It could be like NYX, where they're just like living on the streets and doing drugs and cutting themselves just to feel something.
Cutting themselves, being underage hookers. Yeah,
it did make me think of NYX all the time.
A little bit.
But I think that. I think that it's going to be worth seeing how the story plays out. Is Peach Momoko on it for the long haul? I don't know. Like, all she's ever done are miniseries.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but given how singular the vision is, and the fact that
it is a very singular.
I can't see passing this off to anybody else, unless she gets it to a place that feels more conventional at the end. But my thing is unless that's done cleverly, I might be disappointed.
Yeah.
If by the end,
imagine what happens. Imagine what happens when they inevitably have the first crossover of this new Ultimate Universe.
Right.
Where does the Peach Momoko X-Men book fit into that?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess you have to swerve to Peter and his sister running, the Russian conglomerate or whatever, but like, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
they do mention in the solicit for Ultimate X-Men too that the team up is starting as they're introducing another character.
Yeah.
So
the next one's another personal character.
Yeah. I'm not.
I mean, if I were to speculate, I would say that the first 2 or 3 issues of Momoko's X-Men is going to be completely off the reservation. It's going to take place in Japan. It's going to be focused around armor but I think at a certain point, Armor coming into her own and gathering the attention of characters around her, and this grouping will eventually catch the attention of the mutants that we know.
Yeah,
and then
she's taking her steps into a larger world.
Yeah, and then
at a certain point, a bald guy is going to show up and say, have you.
I'd like to talk to you about the X-Men Initiative.
Right. Or
Yeah,
Peter
exactly.
Peter is
you know.
driving the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or something. I don't know. I mean, like, we'll see.
Right.
I mean,
Or,
and
you know,
there's already like a vaguely like Shadow King coded,
I guess,
villain. I don't know what that dark presence is supposed to be, but my first thought was like, oh, is this the Shadow King?
I don't think so.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. But
I don't know. That's the thing, is that we don't know.
All right, we got
won't know
5
until the
minutes
storyline's
left.
over.
Let's stay X-Men. Hickman is not invited to the Krakoa conclusion. He's not invited, but you know who is?
X-Men's Uncanny X-Men.
Someone who has also been there from day one and really driven Krakoa and really given it the push it needs. Chris fucking Clairmont, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh God!
It's just like a poor Jerry Duggan. That guy's just been like that guy. They
all of
hired
them.
that guy.
All of them.
They hired that guy. They're like, hey Jerry, we want you to do the book about Kitty Pryde being a pirate. Can you do that? And he's like, yeah, sign me up. And now he's the guy. Like Jerry Duggan's the biggest name on those books. I mean, am I wrong?
No.
Kieran Gillen.
Kieran Gillen, yeah.
Kieran Gillen, that's fair.
I would say
Kieran
poor
Gillen,
Kieran Gillen, too, because, like, look, I loved Immortal X-Men. And
Al Ewing, Al Ewing.
Poor
Jerry
Al
Duggan,
Ewing, yeah.
Kieran Gillen.
Yeah.
Like, those poor schmucks were left holding the bag. And now this Uncanny X-Men 700 is coming out. I'm not sure what kind of Marvel math they're doing here.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it's labeled because it's
I thought we were at 900 by now.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't remember exactly what anniversary number they gave it, but it's 700, maybe 750. I don't remember, but because it's
700. It's issue 35, and they're saying celebrating 700
X-Men,
issues.
but it's X-Men 35.
Yeah.
But that makes it Uncanny X-Men 700.
Right.
Well, that's because there hasn't been an Uncanny book since Krakoa.
Yeah.
Since before.
There's only been an adjectiveless.
But we're going to celebrate it here.
There was that god awful Matthew Rosenberg one that Salvador LaRocca drew.
That's true. That's true. I'm going to call my shot on this one, though. I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was like the last Uncanny X-Men book we had was that one.
I'm saying Clairemont's story is like a 3-page, 5-page thing. It's going to be loaded full of different creators doing stuff.
He's not doing the main story at all. No,
but he's like the name they put on. Chris Clairemont's here for issue 700. Like, come
trying to
on.
sell it with.
Yeah, every time Chris Claremont comes back, there's a contingent of people that love it. There is. They buy it and they love it. And then the whole rest of the X reading world just goes, it shivers.
I think every time they trot Chris Claremont back out to write something new for the X-Men, it makes me like his classic X-Men a little bit less.
Yeah, it feels very.
And I don't know if that's fair, but that's the reality of the situation.
You just need to go back and read the old stuff because it holds up amazingly.
It does. It's great.
I know what you mean. But
I mean, I get it, Brian, and you're right, and I know that it does. But like, I'll read something like, I'm not even talking about the first run of Extreme X-Men. I'm talking about when somebody decided we need to do one of those stupid flashback books for Extreme X-Men, and I'm not kidding. It made me so mad I wanted to toss my laptop out the window. I was just like, no. And then I tried to go back. Like
what you mean?
I saw the trade, the Epic collection for the, and this is not Claremont, so this is not a fair comparison, but there was another one that I had my eye on as well. But the Epic collection of the Uncanny X-Men issues that were the counterpart to the Jim Lee #1. So it was like John Byrne, Will Spatacchio, Scott Lobdell.
Sure.
The one with Bishop and Archangel. And I started reading that and I'm like, oh, but this is fun. This is fun. Chris Claremont, the Gold Team. And Chris Claremont's name's not on it, but there's also another Epic collection where it is it's like the Brood Saga where they go into space.
Right.
Yeah.
for a year, and I'm like, I don't know if I should read that. I don't know if I want to read that.
They were great
Yeah,
though.
every time they bring Clairmont out, it's like Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, it is. It is. And like, I mean, I get it. He's a legend. He's the guy, you know, like, and I loved it. And Brian, I'm with you. That shit still holds up, but he's still doing what he did back then today. And it's like, we're not living back then anymore. You know, a lot of stuff has changed. Like, and people are telling stories differently.
Probably
you know?
an essay about it somewhere, but or to be written. But the Clairmont, even the Clairmont ticks that we blame him for.
I lost you for a second.
The enunciation of powers, like, it's really like the cartoon did more damage than Clairmont did.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
You know, like Storm declaring what she's doing at all moments, like that.
Sure.
A little bit in the, like, I read 200 issues of X-Men. Like, it is not there. It is not there to a significant level. But that stuff came in from the mimicking of it until you just get like a caricature. And now he's overwriting into caricature. And it's like, no, man, just do what you did. Because he was great. Like, even the last X-Men issues before he was gone, like, they're wordy.
X-Men 1 through 3.
It's like, it's so good. They're so good.
They are great.
And Jim Lee is beautiful, and the coloring is great. And like, you know, Scott Williams' inks, like, oh, it's perfect. Yeah. It's absolutely perfect. And to see him doing like that awful Kitty Pryde miniseries thing that you were talking about, Joe, and all that, like, these little things pop up and they're so mediocre and just like, but you know, I'm glad they're paying them to do work.
Yeah.
You know, every time I see like a Spider-Man 2099 book that Peter David's writing, I'm like, well, that'll pay for some medical bills because that guy needs it.
Symbiote Spider-Man.
Yeah. I know I keep doing wrestling analogies, but he's the old wrestler that comes back and just like does the one move, does the second move, does the big move, and everybody goes, yay! And he's like, I'm out of here. You know?
You're not there for work rate when you hire him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to put on a barn burner.
No.
And you know, like, I feel bad bashing those. To some extent, I feel bad bashing those books, Brian, because like Peter David desperately needs that money. Because the dude has had a series of strokes, his medical debt is staggering, and he's been in and out of the hospital, and he's still managing to churn out Symbiote Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and that Captain Marvel, Janice Veld book, and you know, it's just like, God bless Peter. The books are bad, but I'm rooting for you, buddy. And I feel the same way about like I remember those Bleeding Cool kind of like conspiracy articles where they're like, is Marvel paying Chris Claremont not to write? Because he's been, and it is like for a long time, it's like he was under exclusive contract with Marvel.
Yeah, he's got like the lifetime
but he
contract.
didn't have any books coming out.
No, he's a Marvel legend. He's, you know, like the Undertaker. He doesn't have to wrestle. He's just on contract. You got him. You know, like
his name is there. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
It sells itself.
Yep. All right. It's we're a little over time. I'm glad we talked about this stuff. Good gang hang. This is fun. So I'm not going to gamble against any of you jerks, but if anybody wants to throw some bets on the Oscars, I will take your money, suckers. All right. For now, my name's Matt Baum.
I am the Internet Joe Patrick.
And this is a Two-Headed Nerd. Gang hang. Signing off, kids.
Bye, guys. Have a good week.